Hi, Rinsola. Nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you, even though I'm in Italy, but I'm on the supervisory board of PUMA. I used to be born in, I was born in London, so we have something in common. I'm a bit too old for you, but anyway. But could you just please introduce yourself?
So my name's Rinsola Babajide. I play football for Liverpool and England, born and raised in London.
Interests apart from football?
Interest. To be fair, I like music, fashion, so like modeling and stuff. I love athletics as well. I used to do that when I was younger.
Oh, what event did
Yeah,
you do? Let me just ask you. Did you
it was it was relay, 100 meters, 200 meters, long jump and high jump is what I used to
Wow.
do. Yeah.
Good. You should have been an athlete instead of a football player, but I will not say that anymore. But you're still young. You're still young. You made a big name for yourself when you was like what 17, was it? With scoring that amazing 14 goals. I've been reading a lot about you. So you're still very young. You're still getting there. And what are you up to at this present moment?
Yeah, so I'm decent, I'd say. I feel like I've been quite lucky in terms of with the whole pandemic thing, with me still playing football, being able to train and everything. So, and now I'm down with my family back in London. So yeah, I can't complain much, I'd say.
How did you actually start playing football? Why football?
So it was my primary school times pretty much. So most of my mates were guys. So what they'll mainly do is like get a tennis ball or football and kick it around during break time and stuff. And when I moved to Brixton, there was just a cage, a football cage there. So everybody would always like come outside, play football, meet new people and stuff. So I decided to join, and everyone said I was actually good at it, and I actually enjoyed it. So I thought I'd just stick to it and see where it gets me, pretty much.
Were you studious at school or not?
To be fair, I'd rather just play football every day
Uh,
and night than than obviously be in school and learn things. But to be fair, it goes hand in hand. And I've learned that now that I'm older.
that's very good. That's a good message to show to everybody. You may be young, but you need to think about your education. You've got plenty of time to be the best footballer. And then your dream came true. What happened?
I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to stick to it, keep working hard because you never know who's watching and stuff. So I just carried on playing football every morning and evening and stuff, and just tried to better myself pretty much. And then any opportunity that I had to even play with guys, especially down in London, like I took it. I got picked up, I think in secondary school, it was one of the older girls came up to me after school one time and was like she thinks I'm a good footballer and I should come to this club of hers. So I did that. The manager and the team liked me. So I joined Lambeth Girls at the time, and it blossomed from there really, because I think I stayed there for 2 or 3 years. Then the manager was like, I'm like good enough now, better than the team, that I need to kick on pretty much. So he gave me this link to feed the team. And it was a Crystal Palace scout there at the time. So played well there. The Crystal Palace scout picked me up, and then went to training sessions. They signed me, and yeah, literally just blossomed from there.
Good. And then all of a sudden you're with the Liverpool ladies now. What did your parents say? What did your family say?
So like when I was younger and I just kept on playing around with the boys, and I was the only like female there, especially being very small. I was very tiny in comparison to everyone else, my age group. They were kind of concerned that I was playing with the guys and I was the only like little one there who's a female. But when they actually watched me play, they actually helped me and just told me that I'm very good at it, supported me, took me to games, training sessions and stuff. And yeah, they believed in me and they're happy as to where I am now.
So what is like being actually competing for the international level now? How did it feel? Because it was like, I bet you had this amazing feeling, because when I was competing and going to like major championships like the Olympic Games, you just went, wow, I'm doing something representing my country. So how did it feel to you?
Playing for England was always like the main goal for me, I'd say, from when I was younger. I've always just wanted to play for them. So when I got the call up for the under 18s, it was just surreal, really. It was overwhelming. I couldn't believe it pretty much. But when I actually went to the camps, and I'm still kicking off, and I recently got my England senior call ups as well. Like, it's just a proud feeling, I'd say. and it just makes me want more. So yeah, I'm just still working hard, sticking to it, and hopefully I can be a regular one day.
Good for you. Now let's go to the nitty-gritty stuff of it. Did you ever find any resistance because you're a woman football player?
I first experienced that during, I think it was secondary school, because I was the only female playing for the boys football team. And then I would get like a lot of like credit for being a player, being the only female pretty much on the boys football team and stuff. So some of the guys would come up to me and be like, oh, I don't know why you're playing, like it's for guys and you're not going to make it anyways. And just saying things like that, which sometimes like it would hurt me, but then again, it pushes me more to want to make it and prove them wrong, I would say. And then the more successful I got and the more higher I got up the spectrum is when I started experiencing like online abuse and stuff, saying that football's not for women and just saying things like that, I would say, and just experiencing discrimination, both racism and sexism. But yeah, it has always just pushed me to want to do more, because like, I've got a purpose as to why I play, and I'm not doing it solely for myself. I'm doing it for the younger generations coming up as well, to try and create that pathway for them too. So yeah, none of that can ever just knock me down and keep me down, I'd say.
Well, that's good for you, but don't you find it a bit heavy because you're the only one who's carrying that burden? I mean, does your teammates help you, support you? Do you have the support from your teammates, from the club, from the coach? Because sometimes you from the outside you're thinking, we're against it, but are they really doing the talk? Are they walking the talk? Are they actually supporting you internally, like your companions? Do they actually defend you?
I've got a strong support system in my agent, my family, and England especially. I'll say like I've got a sports psychologist for like whenever I need her, pretty much. So sometimes I tend to like lean on them to maybe like speak out, just to air things out with how I'm feeling and everything. So I feel like I do get support for sure, which has helped majorly, especially when I'm speaking to people older than me that's actually experienced it or has heard about all these things before. So
good. Well, I've never heard about the psychology part of it, which is very good. So maybe that may have good, good point and a good idea usually for other athletes, for other sports. So that sounds really good. I mean, like when I was competing, I was doing track and field, I was doing athletics, and we did not have that kind of attitude, racism, actually, because you can imagine, we had African Americans until Chinese, Russian Americans, Germans, and then British athletes. Because I remember when I was watching television, the athletics in the early 1980s, and I really wanted to be an athlete. I remember a sports commentator who's very, very famous for BBC called Ron Pickering. I don't know if you heard about him. And somebody was commentating how many black athletes were there in the British team. And we had a very high number. And Ron Pickering said, and I remember it so clearly when I was a kid, I was watching it with my father, and he said, I'm sorry, but this is the future of athletics. It doesn't matter what colour the athlete is. This is the British team. And it gave us that was a big, massive shout out for all of us who wanted to be an athlete. So that support system was literally there, but it wasn't nothing more sophisticated like it is now. But also it's an individual sport. So with a squad sport, I mean, with a team, it makes it a bit more easy. And also with the support system that you've got, makes it much easier, because I think there's a big difference between individual athletes, like we had to compete for ourselves, we train by ourselves, we're not in a team really, whereas you are in a soccer team. So you with camaraderism. Do you ever at the stadiums ever had any problems at the stadiums like your male counterparts do have? Like over here in Italy, I mean, we had lots of problems in the stadiums, which we had to really work on. I mean, they called me to be in the Italian FA to call out about racism and everything, and we're still way behind because there's no control at the moment. There's no control. There's no sort of system that you can eliminate it. So I want to see from your point of view as a football player competing in your workplace and being, do you have any of these experience either, in the public when they watch you play?
No, me personally, I haven't experienced that. But I've been to like Millwall games at the Den, and I've heard like some of the fans like just speaking of racist slurs and stuff to some of the players out on the pitch. But me personally, no, I haven't. Not when I was playing, anyways. I haven't heard anything.
After that incident, did you have an incident similar to what you had, which was everybody saw, which was kind of exploded? Did you have a similar experience with that racist and also sexist abuse on social media before, or it just kind of exploded out of the blue?
I've experienced, like, I've seen so many messages similar to that, if I'm being honest. But how I am, like, I just tend to like block out negativity and just focus on my sport. I think that's kind of for the better. But because I was just hoping it just goes away and everyone just stops and just knows that it's wrong. But that wasn't the case. Like, it still kept on coming up. Like, more people were just being racist and sexist towards me, whether that's in my direct message or underneath the picture and stuff. So I just thought this is the right time to actually speak up about it, because it's actually wrong. Like, and I reported the message, so did a lot of my fans and stuff, and they started screenshotting me like what they got in return of reporting it, which was apparently it didn't go against Instagram's guidelines and stuff, which I think that was the most shocking part of it all, because like the platform itself, they should know better. So yeah, that's
your opinion. What should they do? What should they do? I mean, like social platform, and also for big companies like PUMA, what in your opinion can we do?
I feel like it's the social media's responsibility to like make sure like they verify people's accounts and stuff, because there's a lot of people making like burner accounts, so they're hiding their identity and they know that they've got that shield there, so they can speak badly of people and get away with it. So if the social media platform actually makes sure there's verification to show that you are the person that you are when you're making an account, then I feel like people will kind of stop, or it will narrow it down anyways. So yeah, that should definitely be put in place, I'd say, because it's way too easy just to make a fake account and then get away with murder pretty much.
The institution like the federation, do you think they need to be more protective for their players?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there should be like an educational system put in place, and just things like, if your like fan is being racist or sexist and stuff, like the team should actually get points deducted, just things like that, so it hurts the team and the fan itself, and they don't just get away with things. And I feel like the police should get involved more as well, because people like on social media, there's a lot of people on it, and quite a few people actually commit suicide from it as well. So they just need to take the seriousness of it like how it is, because people commit suicide for things like that. Nobody knows what people are going through at that certain moment that can like push them over the edge and stuff. So yeah, like I just feel like it needs to be taken more seriously, and actions definitely needs to be taken too.
But do you find that also, this is like more provocative, because I usually have an argument with the journalists when I was competing, because you already called me the Mona Lisa because I never smiled, or the Black Panther or whatever. It was just so corny how they described me. Do you think it's also part of the fault could be also the journalists, what they're doing, or how they report, how they write? Yeah,
no, definitely. Everything like adds up to it all, I think. And as a Black female in the game and stuff, whatever your respective sport is, I just feel like we're misinterpreted as well.
Yeah.
So like, as you said, journalists and stuff, they can help stop painting like negative pictures of us as well, and actually try and get to understand us, not only journalists but people in sport as well.
Yeah, well, I kind of found that pretty difficult, because I remember when I was in my prime, I was like competing, I was up preparing for the Olympic Games, and I remember I was going to a posh golf club with my ex-husband, and I was just dressed up as a woman, obviously, but when they realized who I was, they said, oh, doesn't she look like a man? You know, it's like you've been interpreted, you've been like looked at, considered, your image is completely distorted from what they think of you. And I had to really prove myself. Even my ex-husband had to say, look, she's a woman, 100%. I don't know where you get that from. Like a month ago, my daughter, she does track and field as well. She did the same event as I do. And apparently she was all over the news because she equaled my record, indoor record. And there was one journalist saying that the mother, who was a very big, massive talent, that her married to her husband who had to tame her. Like I was a wild animal, literally a wild animal. Like I was married to an Italian who tamed me, Caucasian. I mean, that phrase that just killed me. And I saw it on Facebook. Somebody kind of shouted him out, and I actually shouted out that journalist privately and say, just be careful what you write, because it's not, you know, the youngsters of today are not going to take it. Neither my husband, ex-husband, and neither my daughter. What do you hope for in the future? What do you really hope for that things will change for the good?
I just hope for us, like professional athletes, to be protected a bit more, because like people can make fake accounts and stuff and pretend to be whoever they want to be, and then obviously discriminate us and stuff. Whereas us as the professional athlete, we can't really do or say much. We can only really like report it, or we'll get judged for how we may like react and stuff. So if they don't want us to react negatively and stuff, they need to actually like protect us and make sure they actually take action when we do report it, so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, like Catherine Johnson-Thompson, she actually said that she was sick and tired of this racism, and she was like saying her, not political views, her opinions, and she got slated on the social media because they said, why don't you just leave politics out of it? But it's not politics really, is it really? It's, yeah, we're human beings. We have emotions, we are training, we are professional athletes, but we need respect. And if that person has that opinion, which 9 times out of 10, a lot of women, especially women athletes, women sportswomen, public sportswomen have this thing. We have every right to talk, but it seems like it's true, like you just said, we are your athletes are very, very limited in what you can say and what you can do to defend yourself, which I find it pretty frustrating.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Something definitely needs to be put in place to protect us, so we can just solely focus on our profession and not need to worry about negativity online. The
athletes who are competing in the Olympic Games, hopefully in Tokyo later on this year, that the IOC with the Rule 50 saying that athletes cannot, show their opinion on the podium or when they're in the village, which I think it's totally wrong, because I think it's out of date now, the way things are going. I mean, what are your thoughts on that as well, especially with the athletes who are competing in the Olympic Games, which is the only platform they've got? Do you think it's fair?
Personally, no, I don't think it's fair, because as you said earlier, like we're all humans and stuff, we have emotions and feelings. So I feel like us actually being able to speak out and us being backed for actually speaking out is so important, because like, as I said earlier, people can make fake accounts or pretend to be someone that they're not, and then try and like be disrespectful towards us, and we have to pretty much stay in silent or try and report it, and nothing's actually being done. So I feel like we just need to be backed a bit more as the victim to speak out, and people actually back us and just help, as I said, protect us or just support us, I'd say.
I think a lot of people, I don't want to dive into it, but for me, I feel a lot of frustration for you, all the athletes, all the football players, all the athletes who have been having problems, and it could be racism, it could be sexism, it could be LGBT, it could be anything. And that really tires me out, because I'm sick and tired of talking about it, really. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I personally, I'm sick and tired of talking about it. I just want them people to understand exactly what we should do. Sometimes I feel like, why do I have to do this work? Why do I have to open my mouth? Why don't you lot do it? So I don't know if you feel the same, or you're not arrived to that point yet. I'm not so sure, but I would love to see how the contrast to me, I'm like nearly twice the age of you, how you feel, if it's really tiring psychologically, or you're thinking, so that, I mean, I've done this, so it's about time people do this job for me instead of me doing it all the time. I've got something else to do. I want to play football, and that is it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I feel exactly the same. Like, it's very exhausting. Like, majority of the time, I need to think more so about me getting abused than me focusing on like performing the best I can on the pitch. So yeah, something definitely needs to be put in place, because yeah, it's definitely just boring and exhausting now. Like, we've done boycotts, we've done the BLM stance as well, like before every game, and nothing's really changing. So something more like I think bigger needs to happen, just so fans and everyone else is actually feeling it and actually buying into it, wanting change, not just doing things for the sake of it without nothing happening at the end of it.
How do you see yourself in the future? How do you see yourself in 5 years' time, 10 years' time?
So in like 5-10 years' time, I'd say being a full England international, hopefully winning the Ballon d'Or, winning like Champions League titles, and hopefully my respective league as well, whether that's playing here in England or elsewhere. So I've got big ambitions to like win silverware and stuff.
Will you be prepared to go abroad to play football as well?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, you never know what the future holds. So I'm not gonna say no to whatever, because like you never know if I'm better off playing out there or here. So as I said, like right now, I'm playing in England, so that's my main focus, to be the best I can here. And yeah, never know what happens in 5-10 years' time, whether I'll still be here or elsewhere.
What advice would you give to the younger generation, a young girl who wants to start off playing football? What advice would you give her?
I would just say that you're not alone, that stay strong and stay determined and keep working hard.
And ignore other people who don't think you're able to make it, like you did.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. Like, just make sure you've got goals and remember the reason why you're playing in the first place. And yeah, ignore like negativity and literally just stay focused on you.
Who do you really admire? It could be a footballer or none, but who are your greatest inspiration?
Growing up, I was looking up to Enioluco and Messi. I'll say Enioluco because she was the only black female playing for England at the time. So I literally just wanted to be like her, as in like trying to pave way for the younger generation, just to show that it's actually possible to make it as a black female in the game.
Anybody else? Non-football?
Serena Williams as well. She's just like a big talent, as you can see. She works very hard and stuff, and she's won silverware and everything. And no matter what anybody says about her, she's just still like driven, because like she's got a purpose in the game, as you can see. So
that's quite interesting. That's very interesting, because somebody like Serena, but obviously she's an icon for a lot of women, especially women of colour, because it's not every day you see a woman of colour coming out and beating everybody, being the GOAT literally of tennis, which is good, against all odds as well, because she's always been somebody who's always loyal to herself and loyal to her principles, which is very good. So I think she's a very, very good inspiration, a good example for the new generation more than anything else. With the psychology, do you find it difficult to kind of express yourself when you have this frustration? Do you find it very difficult to express yourself? Because sometimes people feel a bit embarrassed or feel like, oh, it's nothing really, why I'm making a big thing out of it. Or do you find it difficult or find it easy when you actually talk about it? And I think that's the most important thing, I think, because not many people, it's like as I say, racism and sexism, no, but racism is like, it's very difficult to talk about.
No, it's definitely difficult. But I feel like it's important to have difficult conversations as well. So it was hard, like, to open up about everything happening. Then when you actually get to know the person, the psychologist and stuff, and then that's when you feel more comfortable to speak out about it. So, yeah.
For me, it would be very difficult for me to talk about it. I mean, I would, if I was your age, I think I'd find it very difficult. I think I would just hide it. I would like hide behind a smile and just go for it. But I think it's not very healthy. And also, as you mentioned earlier about mental health, which is becoming a really big thing about it. So obviously we're thinking about mental health, because people assume that sportsmen and women don't have problems, but we do. it's a really hard game because it's a psychological thing as well, not only physical. So I suppose it's very important. How do you see yourself after your football career?
Hopefully owning a company, or even being in like working in properties and stuff, I'd say. No, for sure.
You are the people that we need to give more education to people to know how you feel, because it's very easy writing it and then nobody literally listens to you. So thank you for this conversation, because I think it's very, very important.